Live from Capitol Hill, it's Tuesday, 18 February, year of our Lord 2020. You're in the War Room 2020. It's 258 days plus a wake-up to the election of 2020. I don't know if it's going to be the most important election, because everybody says everyone's the most important, but it will certainly be the nastiest as we cover every step of this. My colleagues, Raheem Kassam, Jason Miller, Raheem, Nigel Farage's wingman, and ran the War Room for all of the Brexit situation. Jason was the chief communication strategist for President Trump's 2016 come from behind victory, and also the transition communications director. Live on the John Fredericks, the Salem Broadcast Radio Network, America's Voice.News, and 99.1 FM in Chicago, the Windy City. Also 103.9. I want to thank all the Chicago people. And Raheem, real quickly, yesterday was our, what was it, 5 years ago? 2014? 6 years ago. Breitbart London, the platform of the Brexit movement. So we got another platform here to bring, and what we do here every day.
Wait. Where's my anniversary present? 6 years ago yesterday.
That mic you're sitting on your Twitter feed. Let's go talk about how we want the people communicating on Twitter and engaging in this. This is what it's all about, is community, and we want to hear your voice. Remember, we lay out the news, you give us the opinion, we do the analysis, you give us your ideas, your concepts. We want people totally engaged on Twitter. We're going to actually start taking calls here in some point in time. We'll do Vox Populi as we get our sea legs here, but there's just so much happening. We're trying to get to all the news. A world crisis is upon us in this pandemic. The second hour of the show is War Room Pandemic. We have two gentlemen from the Hindu American Society today talk about India, the president's upcoming trip, and what it means for this pandemic. But just a headline, the head of all medical for Wuhan died last night of coronavirus, and that has sent shockwaves through the world medical community. And particularly, I know it sent shockwaves through the senior leadership of the Chinese Communist Party. Senior people like that are not supposed to die, right? And that came as a big shock. So the head chief medical officer for the Wuhan hospital system dead now of coronavirus, and obviously a pandemic that is out of control, and that's why we call it War Room Pandemic. But talking about something that's out of control is the fight for the Democratic Party. We have a socialist who's an independent, and very proud of the fact that he's not a registered Democrat, although sits with the Democrats in the Senate, and a moderate to liberal mayor of New York City. Are now the two, all the polls coming out, are now the two front runners for the Democratic primary. The establishment of the Democratic Party, the Clinton Wall Street crowd and the Obama Wall Street corporatist crowd are on the outside looking in, right? Their candidate, Senator Biden, Vice President Biden, imploding. Mayor Pete, irrelevant. Amy Klobuchar, irrelevant. Elizabeth Warren, irrelevant. All irrelevant, right? And now we have polling. And CNN and Mika already making excuses, right? They weren't talking that nicely about Trump being a billionaire, were they?
Oh, no. So the big, massive seismic shift this morning is the new Marist PBS poll is out. And the reason why this was important is because the Democrats have certain criteria to be able to get into the debates. And so tomorrow night will be the first debate that now Mayor Bloomberg is eligible to be in.
How did he get eligible?
Well, so you had to have a base of a number of polls coming out where you had to hit 10% in the threshold. Previously, you used to have either a certain number of donors or certain standing or finish in some of the earlier primary states. Obviously, he wasn't doing that. They changed the rules to where they got rid of the donor requirement. Initially, this was said, why are they making it so easy for Bloomberg to get there? But then a lot more folks lately have said, actually, no, the other opponents wanted that to happen because they didn't want a scenario where Bloomberg would just skip all of the debates. They wanted to force him into it. This is why we've been hammering on the show. We have to flush out Bloomberg. We have to make him debate. He's got to get to that stage. This is why Trump is so smart to hit on this, because when you look at his previous debates, going back to 2009, when you look at even his events on the stump as he's traveling around the country, he's weak on the stump. He's very weak. He talks about voters in classes of people, and I think this is a big weakness. But the new poll that is out this morning, again, this is nationally. You have Bernie Sanders, the front runner, at 31%, Bloomberg at 19%, Joe Biden has plummeted down to 15%, Elizabeth Warren at 12%, Klobuchar at 9%, Mayor Pete is all the way down to 8%. Keep in mind, when they did this in December, Mayor Pete was at 13%. He's down to 8%. It's irrelevant.
And what it shows you is the Biden and Mayor Pete vote, the centrist vote, is going to Bloomberg.
And as Biden continues to drop, because he's not going to turn around now. Now people are seeing strength, and everyone wants to be with the winner. I think this is absolute malpractice that Bloomberg's team is letting him take the debate stage tomorrow night. I think this is the one thing that can trip him up, and they're sending him headfirst into it.
He's done two mistakes. He went after the Bernie bros on the far left, which I still think is a mistake right now, and this is malpractice. Why would you put him on a stage? It's better to let people project onto him what it is than see the reality.
Well, we want to hear what people have to say. The hashtag to tweet out is this hashtag WarRoom2020. And we'll be reading out the tweets over the course of the show. And we monitor it when we're not live as well, so we can talk about things that you mentioned. If you're listening back on podcast or any other place, it's been 24 hours, and there's been these two incidents now, and Bernie is effectively 2-0 ahead in this. However, maybe that is saying, and I want maybe I'm thinking too cute on this, maybe that's saying they want to get this kind of pylon that they expect at a debate out of the way early as possible, and that's why they'd go into this debate. I'm in broad agreement with you, Jason, is I don't think if you were on his team, you wouldn't want him to debate, but maybe get the rough one out of the way when he's not on the ballot.
Yeah, but I think what it is right now, look, you have a whole bunch of desperate candidates right now. So you have the Klobuchar's, you have the Mayor Petes who are looking at, you have Joe Biden. Joe Biden could basically play the Chris Christie role to Marco Rubio from last go around, where he knows he's not going to win the thing, but you know what? Let's just dial up a daisy cutter and just drive it right into the guy's heart. That's what Biden could do. Now, here's the deal with Biden. I mean, the only reason why he'll even be there if someone tells him there's like a Golden Corral buffet backstage, and Biden might wander in with his tag hanging off, says, please return to campaign if lost. I mean, Biden's just barely even functioning at this point. But the rest of the folks, I think they're going to do their best. And look, Amy Klobuchar, Elizabeth Warren, you don't think that they're going to bring up some of the comments about women?
You have to. I don't know why you would do it. But here's the thing. Some of this goes back to Trump, because many people say the same thing about Trump. Don't let him debate too early. Once you see it up there, and of course he proved everybody wrong, but the standards were so low. I think on Bloomberg, I don't think the standards are low. I think they're looking at him being a major candidate, and that's why I think this thing's so risky. I just don't know why you would do it. His excuse to date has been pretty solid. I'm not on the ballot in Nevada. I don't want to step on these people. Let them have their say.
So wait for Super Tuesday. That's why I'm saying don't do it now. Say, you know what? I'm not here in Nevada. I'm not in South Carolina, because there's another debate next week. I would just say, you know what? We'll be on the ballot when we'll debate when I'm on the ballot.
Super Tuesday.
Yeah.
This is a real warm up for him. That's what I'm saying. It's a dress rehearsal.
It's no dress rehearsal. The media is going to be all. You say he's now on the ballot. The ballot is the media ballot.
But he can't afford to put in a first poor performance ahead of Super Tuesday. He has to if he's going to put in a poor performance, he wants to do it now, lower expectations, and then come in on the Super Tuesday debate and be better.
I think Super Tuesday is all about organization, data, and capital. I mean, he's putting what's the number so far on Super Tuesday? $114 million.
114. LA Times actually has a really good story on this front. It's at 114. And again, that's just for Super Tuesday. And put things in context, what do we have now? Was it 45 or 46 total delegates, I believe, between Iowa and New Hampshire? There are over 1,300 delegates that are available on Super Tuesday.
36% of the total.
Correct.
In two states alone, in Texas and California, I think it's 17%, but 36% is on one day.
And we're seeing new polling out. He's now tied. Bloomberg is now tied with Biden in Virginia. That's the expensive D.C. media market for Northern Virginia. You look at some of these others where he's surging. Here's the thing. This is why Bernie Sanders had that event in Tacoma, just south of Seattle last night.
Absolutely amazing event for Bernie last night.
17,000 people. It was
Does the media even cover this stuff? He had the one in Colorado with 11,000. This thing in 17,000. And did they really give it much coverage?
He gets no respect. What he needs to do is you fake news media, turn your cameras around, show this entire crowd.
For all the Bernie bros, remember, we totally respect you. President Trump and the Trump movement understand difference in policy, but you're totally disrespected. They don't want you around. They don't want you to show up, right? You're the deplorables of the left.
We have a question here from Puntern on Twitter. It says, why, if you guys are so set on Bloomberg being the nominee, juggernauting his way to the nomination, do the betting markets not seem to agree with Bernie Sanders still at 40% chance and Michael Bloomberg at 27% chance?
Well, I think it takes time to catch up. What do you think? We're not saying here's the thing. What we're saying is that by 9 o'clock at night in California, midnight on March 3rd, the Democratic Party is going to have an independent socialist in a moderate mayor. Republican mayor in New York City is going to be controlled. That's the bet right now, right? We don't know if Bloomberg will play this all the way to the end. What I do know is the Democratic Party will never allow Bernie to have the nomination.
Right. And the predictive markets are, those various different platforms. First
Great
of all,
question, though. Keep
yeah,
asking.
no, and he put it out there a couple times on Twitter, so we see a punt turn. We see it. But look, remember, they said Hillary was going to win in 2016. So the markets have been off. Yes, it takes time to catch up. They're also predominantly driven by Beltway think. And so those folks are still saying, well, Joe Biden's our guy. He's been in office for a long time. He still has a chance, doesn't he? Joe Biden's our
Remember,
guy.
we're the anti-Beltway think.
Yeah, I have a 5-word response for
Yes.
it. I'm ahead of the markets.
I thought you were the market. Okay. Episode 8, Raheem, Jason, Steve. We're going to be back to discuss all of this in just a second.
War Room 2020. Bannon, Miller, Kassan.
2:58 and a wake up. We're live from Capitol Hill in the nation's capital. It's episode 8. Raheem, how are we doing on podcasts? We're over 2.6 million right now.
2.6 million just passed overnight on the podcast, available on warroom.org on all your favorite podcast download platforms. Make sure you sign up at warroom.org to the newsletter. And across the top of the website, you can find all the options where you can download it.
We want also all the commentary in Twitter. Please tell us about the quality of the sound. I'd like to have the sound checks every day. Now that we're on top of that, fish, and any other aspects of the show, more things you want to see, etc. Remember,
Yeah, I like this. I like this one. Just tweeted at us. Grits says Stephen K is rocking some bangs today. You had a little bit of.
Yeah, did I? I washed my hair. That was.
It's that time of year already.
Yeah, he's early. You got dry January. I got hair wash February. So look, here's the thing. We're not the cheerleading squad for Bloomberg. What we are is reality check. We pride ourselves in cutting to the chase. That's what we've been telling you for a while. This pandemic in China is big deal. It's not a cold. It's a big deal. It's going to have a massive reordering of the world's economy. Also, it's obviously a massive health issue. In the campaign, Jason and I, Raheem, pride ourselves in saying, hey, here's reality. Bloomberg is a reality. We've never seen this in American history before. And what it means is that since we know that this is the deplorables show, is that you can't put the total burden on President Trump. He can't do everything. He's already, commander-in-chief. He's turning around the economy. He's got the whole thing. This is going to get down to it's still a mobilization election. It's not ideology. It's mobilization. It's about who turns out. And that's why the deplorables has to understand. It's not even about giving. You got to give money, right? I understand they get a tremendous small donor fundraising, but it's about basically going door to door and getting people signed up to vote, to then get them empowered and keep them tied into things, and then get them out to vote in November. This is the key. If you're going to win, if Trump's going to have a second term, and he could have a tremendous second term, so much still to be done on this entire Trump revolution. It's going to, but the reality is, you've got something never seen before in American history, and now you have the media you have the mainstream media doing exactly what they always do, not pay attention to the guy, dismiss him, and now they're fawning over it.
Right. And what we hope on this, and part of the reason we want to put so much pressure on Bloomberg, is the way the media loves to build them up and they like to tear them down. That is exactly how the media works every single time. So I want to point out a couple of media anchors in particular this morning. Again, I watch CNN and MSNBC, so you guys don't have to. Allison Camerata is on this morning. They're talking about Bloomberg's money and his spending. And literally, this is a direct quote from Allison of Bloomberg. He's a self-made billionaire. And in that, there's an American dream story in that he made this money and he's spending it the way he wants to. Are we supposed to be offended by that?
Wow.
Yeah, which to his credit, Frank Bruni from the New York Times said, well, if we're being intellectually honest here, what Democrats are doing is saying we're going to go and sell the party in order to beat Trump.
That sums it up right there.
That sums it up right there. So Frank Bruni, thank you for at least being consistent and being on the level.
Yep.
Mika on Morning Joe this morning. I laugh when I say this because if you just heard it like you literally couldn't be any bigger of a cheerleader on this. She said, quote, I don't think we've given what he's accomplished enough credit. And also, we got to take a deep dive into stories coming out about him and then switch topics. So, we need to give more credit to Bloomberg for what he's accomplished. I mean, literally, if they could walk around and throw rose petals in front of his feet and just said, here, Emperor Bloomberg, that's where the media is right now.
So, Raheem, given the cruel and premeditated nature of his comments that are now coming out, the misogyny, the cruelness of talk about the black nannies, about the abortions, about what he said about women, what he said about farmers. Given that, have they passed it by spreading money around? Is the media already not in the hunt for Bloomberg on those topics?
I think the media is not in the hunt for Bloomberg on the topics because of what we've been saying. This is about killing Bernie here. For them, they know that if they attack Bloomberg, there's only two horses in this race at the moment. Like you said at the top of the show, everyone else is irrelevant right now, and it boosts Bernie if they do that. These guys have never been friendly to Bernie. We know about the CNN spats with Bernie. We know about the Project Veritas stuff that's come out, with the media trying to push him down and all of that. And the other thing is, remember, they said, President Trump wasn't really a self-made billionaire. His dad cut him the check, and that's how he became rich. Hello, Obama cut Bloomberg the check, right? And he cut him the taxpayer's check, and they don't want to get into that. Nobody has asked the question, not that I've seen, Jason, you watch this a lot more than I do. Has anyone asked the question, how did Bloomberg get so rich?
No, and that's literally where Mika was saying this morning. I don't think we've given him enough credit yet for everything that he's accomplished. Allison Camerata saying it's an American dream story. You know what? Is it the American dream now to get a bailout?
Not enough
to make money off the bailouts.
He got too much. He got too much credit. Too much of a credit line.
What's the difference in stories and narrative? Because they're putting out stories about, and this is what they're hiding behind. They are putting out stories about Bloomberg's comments and kind of the way he thinks about humanity, right? And this is by what it's cruel, it's premeditated, and it's over a long period of time. It's basically his adult life, or at least we've seen it since he's been CEO of this company. There's difference in putting out stories about it and then building a narrative. There's no media firestorm. There's no wall-to-wall coverage. At the top of each show, they pass the baton.
There hasn't been a supercut yet. That's how you know. Nobody's put this all together and just played 4 minutes on air of all the worst Bloomberg moments. Remember, they always did that to Trump. Just let it play on the Don Lemon show. Just let it play. And they haven't done that with Bloomberg so far. I mean, this is the worst, what some would say is the worst instincts of like an off-the-cuff Trumpian type with the verbal bombast combined with all of the worst instincts of a vulturist like Mitt Romney and Bain Capital.
Because, I mean, you said it perfectly yesterday, Steve, when you said this is premeditated. This is a premeditated classification of people. I mean,
this is not off the top of your head.
No,
Trump stuff is throwaway lines, locker room talk. This is he thinks this through before he says this.
He has made it very clear what he thinks about African Americans, what he thinks about younger African American men, how about the not being able to behave, and
Hispanic men too.
Hispanic men. I mean, this isn't just like
if Trump had said this stuff, it'd have been beyond a meltdown.
No, if a Republican said it, they'd be using the racist word.
Right.
100%. So classification. Here is how I put African American Hispanic men in a box. Here's how I talk about women. Here's how I put women in a box and women employees. Here's how I talk about farmers and those idiots in flyover country. The idiots in flyover country is my words, not his, but that's effectively what he was saying. You just dig the hole and you drop in a couple of seeds. That's almost a verbatim.
So why are they not doing this? Why is the media not up in arms? The liberal woke media. Where's all the woke media on Bloomberg right now?
Because we're not talking about soy boys on e-scooters. We're talking about people who live in the heartland or people who live in the inner cities, people who aren't represented by Wall Street or by the elites. We're talking about people who actually have to struggle and work every day to get by.
What is it about Orange Man bad that so triggers the hatred of Trump? Because now they will throw in with Bloomberg, right, to defeat Trump. What is it about Trump? Since if Trump had said this stuff, they'd be more triggered. They're not triggered by Bloomberg, but they're triggered by Trump for much less scale. What is it about Trump that triggers them so badly that they'll give up their party, they'll give up their beliefs? Mika and Allison will give up their integrity as journalists to throw in here. What is it about Trump that triggers them so badly?
They can't control him. They do think they can control Mayor Bloomberg. And they think that he will conform to their view of the world. He'll conform to their policies, to their behavioral norms. That's fully what they expect. With Trump, and I think also too, there's that the unbridled populism with President Trump. Same thing. That's why they hate Bernie too.
Well, we're going to come back and talk about it. When we return, I'm going to put you guys in the room for the debate, for the discussion strategically about does he go on or not, what it's like to be in that room. Also, I want to talk about this morning he came out and was trying to take a little sting out of the populism of President Trump and Elizabeth Warren. It's episode 8 of A War Room 2020. Raheem, Jason, Steve. We're going to be back with the answers to those questions in just a moment.
War Room 2020 with Stephen K. Bannon, Jason Miller, and Raheem Kassan. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Tuesday, the 18th of February, year of our Lord 2020, live on Capitol Hill, and kind of an overcast and slightly chilly day, right? Another dreary day in February. But to lighten it up, we've got Raheem and Jason in the war room. Okay, I want to put you guys in the room with Bloomberg. As you're saying there, Raheem, you first. Why you're going to? I want to hear your thing about if you're sitting there as advisor to Bloomberg, looking at everything that's going on. Why you advise him to take the stage?
Well, okay. So firstly, you have to look at it. I hate using this word, holistically, right? You got to look at the fail on social media over the last 24 hours, the attempts to attack the Bernie bros. It's not cutting through. They're dunking on you on repeat. You've got to look at where the media is going with its commentary. They're now getting hyper defensive, and we'll get back to that about where you made your money. Nobody's strung the narrative together so far of all these nasty things you've said. Your 95-year-old grandfather should be left for dead and all these kinds of things, right? So you've got to look at where there can be a letting of blood ahead of where you're supposed to be competitive. And if there can be, if you can give the opposition an opportunity to hit you, you can establish your defenses, test what works, test what doesn't, and then use the next one after that to go on the offensive, then I believe you might want to take that. I have convinced myself over the course of the last 34 minutes that we've been on air that it is the right thing for Michael Bloomberg to do.
Jason.
Yeah. So, all right, boss.
Chop him up.
Yeah. All right, boss. I'm sitting down. I'm across from Mike Bloomberg. Number one, hey, can you make sure?
And you got this nerd to your right that just argued the end of the campaign.
Yeah. Hey, loser. Where's the sushi? There's no sushi here. We're here. This is unacceptable.
Nobu. Where's my Nobu?
And I'm rocking an iPhone 10, not an iPhone 11. Okay, get someone who can actually do this job. Boss, here's the deal. Ever since you were fired at 39, then came back becoming the richest man in the entire country, you've done it by blazing your own trail, by being different. This is not 2004 anymore. You've already purchased the Democratic Party. All you have to do is keep making your payment plan in the installments. They call it elections, but don't worry about that. The only way that you can be stopped at this point is if you stop yourself. You're not on the ballot until Super Tuesday. So we're going to say this is when the campaign really starts for us. We don't think these early states are representative of people overall in the Democratic Party or in America. We're going to go out there and do our own events. In fact, you know what? Let's take a page out of Trump's playbook. Let's go do a big rally the same night as the debate. Bigfoot, this entire thing. What we learned from Trump also, the way he's changed the media, don't cede an inch. Don't apologize for anything. Go hardcore on this. We make them play Super Tuesday. We're already on the rocket ship at this point. There's no reason to let the little ankle biters go and trip you up.
All right. It took 34 minutes for me to convince myself. It took 34 seconds for you to convince me. I think you won that one.
Here's why I think it's convincing. I would make the point also that Allison and Mika are carrying our water right now. Don't give them anything. The other thing, too, is that unique in American history, the incumbent gets a say-so here. We're going to have the greatest play-by-play commentary on that debate by Donald J. Trump, right? He's going to be on Twitter, doing the analysis of Mini Mike, right? So why would you step into that earlier before you Bigfoot these guys on Super Tuesday? I actually think it's malpractice. Now, if he steps up and oversees expectations, then it's game, set, match. Maybe that's what they're looking for, a blow that comes in and just destroys us.
Okay, so having said all of that...
Do you change your mind again?
Do you think he does it?
Listen, I told Jason I didn't think he would, except the campaign manager came out and what's the exact quote? He says, "We will be there."
Yeah.
This is what I thought this guy, now you could always walk back and do something else, and I think the media would even cover for you if you did that, but it looks like the campaign manager.
Yeah, I mean, look, the poll came out at 5 a.m. The statement was out at like 5:01. Mike is looking
They
forward.
were ready. They were on the trigger.
They were ready. Mike is looking forward to joining the other Democratic candidates on stage and making the case for why he's the best candidate to defeat Donald Trump and unite the country.
Can we hear actually, Allison, when I made the quote to the Washington Post about the pearl clutchers, I had Allison, Mika, and Nicole Wallace in mind. Those are the three I thought. So can we have Allison? Do we have her quote? Do we have her pleasant voice?
States for the rest of the field to get there.
And Frank, about the money, his his rivals are understandably upset that he can spend this much money. But again, on that point, this isn't dark money of undisclosed donors. He's a self-made billionaire.
Right.
And in that, there's an American dream story in that. He made this money. He's spending it the way he wants to. Are we supposed to be offended by that?
Well, I mean, on the one hand, as you both
you
pointed-
worked there as a contributor. Did Zucker text that to her to read? I mean, is this part of Zucker's
Oh,
plan?
no.
That they're underwriting. Now he's taking out commercials. Every time he cuts CNN on, you got Michael Bloomberg as Obama's VP.
There's no dark money. It's an American dream story. I mean, that's bullet points that you get from your boss.
No,
This is my 100%.
No,
I'm with
this
you.
this is the heart. This is coming from the heart. This is coming as a full-fledged. I'm going to quit CNN to be your press secretary.
Dude, you're so good.
Can I get a job in the White House, please?
Wow.
You're good. You think that's what it is?
Oh, yeah.
This is audition. Okay, we'll be
Yeah.
back with episode 8 in just a moment.
War Room 2020. Bannon, Miller, Kassan.
Live from Capitol Hill, War Room 2020, episode 8. Remember, we're going to be here until the day after President Donald J. Trump wins his re-election on November 3rd, and we'll do a summary show just like we did on impeachment, and then we'll go into other things. We'll figure out where we go from there. The second Trump term will be War Room second Trump term, but we got a lot of wood to chop before we
We'll
get
be
there.
back to War Room impeachment. They're going to Barbara Lee and Al Green.
circle.
Like, in fact,
Al, we're counting on you.
Producer Dan, don't throw away the old banners in the literature. Keep the graphics. We'll be back doing it 2021.
We want people now to vote, to go online, but we want your reasons. What we're trying to do is coach you guys up. You guys have the common sense. All you need to do is know the knowledge of how campaigns are run. So here's, we just put Raheem and Jason in the room arguing to Bloomberg. Do you do the debate or not? We want you to vote on a poll, but we also want succinctly your reasons why, if you were the advisor to Bloomberg, you would tell me either debate or not debate. How did they do that, Raheem?
Yeah, the tweet is now live at the War Room 2020 Twitter account. That's at War Room 2020. We'll pin that tweet to the top of the feed. Make sure you're voting. The question is, if you were Bloomberg's advisor, would you recommend he debate fellow Democrats right now or not? Leave a comment below saying why. We have 64 votes in so far already, and it's 50-50.
50-50, amazing. This is the War Room, okay? The great common sense of the deplorables. I want to go to, Raheem makes a good point. The one tactical mistake he may have made is going after the Bernie bros, the hardcore Bernie bros, the deplorables of the Bernie set, too hard. He's tried to pivot back today, though, on a policy to try to become more populist than Bernie, more populist than White Paper Warren, and actually try to be more populist than President Trump.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Bloomberg headline. Oh, shocker! The Bloomberg headline is actually in Bloomberg.
Wait, I thought
You can't make this stuff
No.
up. No, they said they wouldn't say anything bad about it.
Oh, right, okay.
Right.
He's only got one of the biggest news services in the world.
So the Bloomberg headline in Bloomberg is Bloomberg to propose tougher Wall Street rules, transaction tax. And so he's proposing, he has a financial transactions
And
tax.
the Volcker rule that means the banks can't prop trade. This is one of the causes for the 2008. It's a thing that Wall Street hates, right?
Yep.
The prop trading.
and merging Fannie and Freddie.
Stopping it.
Exactly. But the real thing here, and this, obviously Elizabeth Warren has been
White Paper Warren.
White Paper Warren has been on this. What Bloomberg's done so systematically is he gone and said, actually, Joe Biden, I was Barack Obama's vice president. So
That commercial is outrageous.
It's so outrageous, and it's so good.
It's so good.
And-
And where's Biden countered it? Hey, Biden, do you have a staff? You got to be out there going nuts. Literally, Bloomberg's sitting in the gold chair shaking hands. You got Obama saying good things about it. And Biden is crickets.
When Obama's talking, they literally put down in the corners, like, March or May of 2013. Like, this thing's like 7 years old. But, like, they don't care. Oh, I see pictures of Bloomberg and Obama. That's our guy. Have you heard Obama say, knock it off?
The
or don't do it?
Biden guys have given up. You just can tell.
They've given up.
They're overwhelmed. Just giving up.
But there's a bigger concern here, Steve, because the point where I've said this once before, where we were so good as a show, I think during impeachment, we're telling folks about here's how Trump beats this. This is
Yes,
what's coming
exactly.
down the road. What we want to keep coming back to, here's the reason why we're elevating and talking about Bloomberg.
Yeah.
Because unless we start taking Bloomberg
we're not
seriously,
fanboys.
right? Unless we start taking them seriously, unless we start realizing that it's this honey badger populist approach
Yeah.
that's going to deliver us the win, unless we start shoving the media's nose into this pile that they're ignoring right now, then we're going to have a much tougher time in the fall. If we want to win, we have to do all these things. Trump can win. Trump is going to win this race. Absolutely.
It's going to be gnarly.
But we have to take Bloomberg seriously and realize the fight we're in for.
Neighborhood by neighborhood, door by door. By the way, I am a fanboy. I'm a fanboy of yours. When you called it back in, when you called this back in November?
Episode 23.
Episode 23 in November, when you call him Book Deal Bolton. Last night, the media's, when he's at Duke University, they asked him the question, and his answer is, I can't wait to read chapter 14. I said, it's so brazen. Book Deal Bolton was at his full glory last night.
The only thing it was eclipsed by is in D.C. It was Boycott Bolton book was actually trending on Twitter in D.C.
Oh, you tell me the libs, the guys that want him to testify now understand that what Jason Miller said 3 months ago is reality.
Yeah, Asha Rangappa, the super hater-in-chief who's on CNN, the former FBI agent, she was out there tweeting the Boycott Bolton book because they realized that he's played this game, that he's strung them along, he's doing it to sell books. Almost every aspect of media coverage, every host, every guest dings him on maybe he's just trying to sell books. There were a couple buried leads that were in that last night, though. I mean, he said that that President Trump's North Korea, Iran, and Venezuela policies are failures, and he used the failure word. I think that's pretty remarkable coming from a national security advisor, considering he was there.
Not just that, but in Venezuela, Liberation Day is John Bolton. The whole bananas thing out of Woody Allen, this is 100% John Bolton. When he talked about Venezuela, Brother Bolton, that was 100% your concept.
He's just
I also really don't think that these Iraq war people can go around throwing the word failure around so liberally. Okay, let's just get back to that. His pedigree is pretty poor in the national security arena.
This is why last night in Duke, I want to hear you guys' response, is that I want to sit a guy down and have him cross-examine. There's no fear of John Bolton as a witness. If this is what he's bringing, and bring chapter 14 and don't redact it. Let's hear it all, and let's get him cross-examined.
Cross-examined? He won't even let the event be recorded. Okay, last night.
And when do you give it an answer? Read chapter 14. Okay, here's
Although,
my point.
in fairness, he did have about 1,000 people that went to the event, which is like, 3 times the size that Biden would get at a crowd. So you got to give, maybe
No,
Biden
but
should be...
this goes back to Orange Man Bad. If John Bolton had showed up as the national security advisor of Donald J. Trump at Duke University, there'd have been protests. They've been burning down the building. The 1,000 people in there have been throwing stuff on stage. They're there to hear bad stuff about President Trump. That's why, Lindsey Graham, we have to have this Judiciary Committee. If President Trump, anybody's listening, please, it's not going to stop. It's going to go every day. They're going to string this thing out. You got to let's get Bolton up there and cross-examine him. Let's have Rudy with us 3 days of charts. You know, we did the pod 3 days of charts, and then they can cross-examine Rudy. We'll take it. We want the whistleblower. We want the other whistleblower. You can throw in the Bidens or not, but give me John Brennan. Put up a Book Deal Bolton. Let's have it. There's nothing bad that can come with this. And unless we do it, this thing's not going to be vetted.
Yeah, no, I think it's right. I mean, he would have had it like Stephen K. Bannon had it at Oxford University, right? Remember that?
Went in through a tank. This armored personnel carrier. Right, and at the end of the day, it was a non-event. You get in there, but all they want to do, this is why Duke, he's doing another thing, I think, with Susan Rice now. It's a frickin' frack, and the left loves him, right, because all he's doing is attacking President Trump.
Susan Rice, by the way, that's my dark horse pick for potential VPs.
I tell you, it's smart. Kamala Harris and Susan Rice. Susan Rice could be, I tell you, she's on the short list, no doubt about it.
It's not Snoop Dogg, right? Susan Rice and Snoop Dogg had a throwdown recently,
but
right?
she threw down
she did.
hard.
He caved.
He caved.
He did
Hey,
cave.
she broke him. Okay, let's go to how do people get more information, how do they get to the site, and then Twitter.
Warroom.org is the URL. Make sure you're there. There's comment section under every story we post. Make sure you jump in. Hashtag Warroom2020 is the hashtag. If you want to let us know something on Twitter, make comments, ask questions. We're there for it.
Be back in a moment.
War Room 2020. Bannon, Miller, Kassan.
Live from Capitol Hill. Let's go right to what the Vox Populi guys are telling us. The voice of the people out there on Twitter are actually weighing in, Raheem. And actually the analysis, no offense, guys, a little sharper than the Raheem-Jason debate earlier. Should Bloomberg, if you're an advisor to Bloomberg, should he be up there? Should he be on a box at the debate stage, or should he be in a box off the debate stage?
Okay, we're 384 votes in right now. 48% agree with me, say yes, he should. 52% say Jason's right, no, he shouldn't. And there are some great tweets, rationales coming off the back of this. Overlake says if he doesn't debate, he'll be considered to be hiding behind his wallet. He has to come across as mighty to compensate for his diminutive stature. Another one says that people are already going to be pissed with another corrupt election, and if Bloomberg doesn't get up there on stage and just walks into Super Tuesday and wins, riots will happen. Jason, a couple of those on your side there as well. He doesn't need a good debate performance, says Matt, to prevail on Super Tuesday. His money assures that he has more to lose from attacks from the underwater candidates on stage. There's a lot of good ones here.
So the War Room followers are still at a minority saying he should go on. The majority said he should not. I think I come down on that side, right?
Narrowly, yeah.
Let's go to, we got a couple of minutes here left. Other news out there that's affecting us. Big news on the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, Boy Scouts under feeling the heat from the lawsuits, they have declared bankruptcy. So this is pretty stunning for such an American institution like the Boy Scouts to be doing this. But apparently the weight of these legal challenges are so much that they think this is the best path forward for them.
This is a 110-year-old organization, is that right? That's extraordinary.
Pretty extraordinary.
Yep.
TMZ had ambushed me the other day on the Mayor Pete situation with Rush, and even the president came out. I think today, my belief is it doesn't matter. That sort of thing doesn't matter. It's where your policies are, right? I don't think Mayor Pete, I don't think it's come up and held him back at all in the Democratic primary. I think what's held him back is a little vacuous, right? Is that he hasn't been as sharp up there in contrast to Bernie or particularly Biden.
Yeah, nobody brings up in these debates or anything else as orientation. What they bring up is you sound like a robot. This is all like Reese Witherspoon election Mad Libs. Do you have any?
Your best line besides Book Deal Bolton was he's the 10th guy on the conference call. He never says anything that sets himself out. You remember that guy, and I want him on the team, right?
Yeah, it's like you go around the horns like, Thomas, are you on? Yeah, here. And then that's the last you hear of them from the rest of the conference call. They're gone.
You guys are also missing the biggest story as far as the DC set is concerned right now, which is Kenan Thompson is going to headline the White House Correspondents Association dinner.
I thought they were going back. They had a historian last year, right? They had Ron Sherrow that wrote Hamilton. They're not serious. Now we're going back to comedians.
Kenan Thompson and Hassan Minhaj will be headliners in April, and you know that this is all they care about. This is their what do you guys call it?
Nerd prom.
Nerd prom. Jeez, if only they were nerds.
Okay, we've got War Room Pandemic is going to be next as the situation in China only gets worse. Apple downgraded their earnings announcement. The stock markets start to react. We've got two gentlemen from the Hindu American Association here to talk about the upcoming trip of President Trump with Modi in India and to talk about the pandemic, how it's affecting India, and also how India can be a strategic partner in all this debacle we have about what's made here and what's not made here. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. with War Room 2020. Raheem Kassam, Stephen K. Bannon, and Jason Miller.